body that recommends the discipline of judges. Then the governor and the president removes them depending on the particular judge in question. If it's a judge of the High Court of the state, the governor removes him based on the recommendation of the NJC.
Shouldn't that be even re-examined, the way judges are appointed?
It should be re-examined, and not only the appointment, even the issue of NJC, because prior to the 1999 Constitution, there were state judicial services, Judicial Service Commission, and there wasn't any central body sitting in a central city somewhere, to deal with all judges in the entire country. So it's a holistic process. It should start from the appointment of judges, the process, the requirements should be reviewed. Then the process of disciplining them, the training should be reviewed. So, and also, only people of high moral standing, high moral character should be appointed as judges. So
how can the NBA come into this?
Well,
help out?
Well, the NBA ordinarily does not have a major role in the appointment of judges, but I think they should have a major role to play, because we all know ourselves. All the lawyers in practice, we see ourselves in court.
Should they have a say in the way judges are appointed?
They should have a say. They should have a say, because I think presently they are consulted in the appointment of judges, because I've had cases of petition. I'm aware of petitions that have been written against certain persons who were nominated for judicial appointments. But I guess they should. I believe they should have a major say, in this, because we are the people who know ourselves. If you are not a practicing lawyer and you are appointed as a judge, I will know you, because if I don't see you in court, I can't have confidence in you.
But if you look at all of this now, corruption in the judiciary. But there are those who have cited the fact that, look, yes, you may talk about the quality of judgments, confidence, nosediving, but largely members of the society think, look, there's something about corruption in the judiciary which should be addressed headlong. Do they have a point when they say that?
Well, they do have a point. But I will also add that corruption permeates all spheres of our lives. It's not only in the judiciary. You have corruption everywhere. It is endemic. But the corruption...
But once upon a time, you could hardly find it in the judiciary. You could even hardly see judges. You don't even know who a judge is until you come to the law courts.
That's not totally true. That's not totally. Even right from independence, we've had cases of judges who were compromised. Even in treasonable felony case.
So but you saw less of them in public functions, right?
Yes, exactly. That's a very good point. In the past, judges were more or less secluded from the society. We don't see them hobnobbing with people in Owambe parties and what have you. Such that there won't be avenue, to corrupt them. If you don't find them in Owambe parties, I mean, they mind their businesses. It's from their house to their chambers, from the chambers to the courtroom. And even when they want to have leisure, they do it in secluded places where, riffraffs will not come there and, corrupt them. So I think that's also an important fact, which we should look at. The conduct of judges, even outside of the courtroom, is important. It's vitally important. And it's part of the moral standard we are talking about.
But does that mean that, Musa Jacob seemed to support the Faro? You say the entire nation is corrupt and we expect the judiciary to be isolated? He says we are jokers, but, if they say, that's the last hope of the common man, it's a weighty comment. A very important aspect role they play in a democracy. Because after that, what else do you have? That's anarchy.
Well, I agree with you entirely. It will not augur well for us to say that because there is corruption everywhere, we should close our eyes to the corruption in the judiciary. We shouldn't at all. In fact, that is the organ of government that seems to be the most important, because they are always there. The president comes, he goes. The governor comes, he goes. You can't do more than 2 terms. The legislator the legislators come, they go. But the judges are always there until retirement. And the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal judges stay there till 70. Except when you are senile or, you have an infirmity of the body or of the mind. So it's about the most important. So we should not tolerate any element of corruption at all. We shouldn't. We should place focus constantly on the judiciary, because that is the organ of the government that brings about peace in the society. And that reminds me of the statement of Dean Roscoe-Pound of Harvard University, which says that law is an instrument of social engineering, a means of balancing conflicting interests in the society. And where law fails to do justice, you can imagine what we see. So the corrupt judges should not be spared at all.
The CJN thinks that, this particular, because she made this comment at a training, refresher course training, and she believes that the training should be dedicated to, training judges on how to write judgments. Do you think that training really addresses the problem?
Well, I think it does. I think it does, because as part of the performance evaluation system or process, judges of all the high courts, and I don't know if the appellate courts are also inclusive, judges of all the high courts submit certain number of judgments they deliver on monthly basis. So by so doing, the NJC determines, or they are in a vantage position to see the quality of such judgments. If I were a judge, and as part of the decisions I submit on monthly basis, one of them is a very bad judgment, they will see. So, and I guess that was what informed the refresher courses. So I believe those courses will address the system, and there should be more of that, in addition to other solutions that we feel will change the system. The appointment of judges, the quality of judges, the character of persons nominated as judges. What was their character in the university? What was their character in the law school?
We have to go that far back.
We have to. It is essential. It is.
That's how you know who you are.
Oh yes. If you were a criminal in the university, or if you were a cultist in the university, if you were this, if you were that, if you were a person of shady character, why should you find yourself on the bench? You should not only be competent in training or be qualified in training, but in character. That's why we say lawyers should be fit and proper.
Okay, then we'll have to let it go there. Thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning. We'll be speaking with Idris Faro, who is a legal practitioner, and talking about the comments coming from the CJN that the confidence in the judiciary seems to be nosedive. It needs some major help in that respect.